Starting with the person, again, who just finished listening, again, also for 1 minute, take 1 minute and tell your partner or your partners what you like about them. What have you learned? What have you noticed in the past few minutes? What qualities have you perceived? And tell your partner what you like about them.
Well, this is easy because I've known you for 9 years and I base what I say on, I cannot take away what I know of you before today. I learned some details about you today which are no different, which don't contradict. So what I like about you is you're so gentle. You have a gentle, respectful demeanor. Whenever I have had anything to do with you in any group or any collection, whether there are disagreements, conflict, you always maintain a dignity. Americans would say class. You have a gentleness about you, which is unusual, and that's my vote for Andy Hong. Okay, and I don't think you learned it or you practice it. I don't think you have a checklist because it's in you, right inside you. So you are.
Peter, the things that I also know you for so many years, the thing that I admire you the most is your humor. You can make any situation funny. I have seen you in very difficult situations, in department matter, but you rarely lost your cool, and you were able to turn things around and put the positive spin onto things, and you have that great sense of humor. I can listen to you for hours and hours and laugh. That's what I like the best about you, and you are very gentle also. I think you are never kind of the overbearing person. You're just the way you are. You're frank and you're straightforward, and that comes across in your story, and that came across in our previous dealings.
1 more minute for the 3 ways to finish up. Okay, let me talk about this now and then make some other points and the few minutes that we have. Again, in a sense, I just kind of quickly wrote it here, and I know it's hard to read, but everything what we've been talking about for the past few minutes are all the ingredients that go into creative mutual relationships. If we sit down and write, okay, if we're looking for a healthy, empowering mentor-mentee relationship, what would those qualities be? Kind of what you two were thinking about. It would include all of this and more. Because basically what we're talking about is the first priority, in a way, because there was questions about how do we increase the diversity of our students. A question would be, how do we create an environment, starting with myself, where the students want to be here? Okay, that's really the question. It's not like how many of them can we get here. It's how can we create an institution where we don't even have to recruit. They just come knocking at the door. We can't keep them away. Okay, now I realize that's easier said than done, but it's a mindset. Because I guarantee you, if you create such an institution or such a department where you work, that's what will happen. Because the word gets out there, hey, go there, go there. Because these people treat you right there. Go. Okay, now again, this may seem oversimplified, but it's really about a point of view. It's a mindset. These are the ingredients that go into creating such an environment. The reason I asked you not to talk, and I'm not suggesting here that we don't talk again, but it's a balance. How do we creatively, with anyone, I'm sure we're all in relationships. We've all had that experience where it's just time to shut up. It's time not to talk. And sometimes if we don't catch the moment, somebody who loves us will say, will you just let me talk? So then we say, okay. What I'm talking, not learning how to really listen and be available, I consider an intercultural leadership quality or interdifference leadership quality. If we're going to bridge differences, whatever they may be, one of the abilities that we have, that we need to have, I believe, is to be able to choose not to talk, to make the moment about the other, not about me. So if I'm a mentor and it's about my mentee, then my job is primarily to listen. Certainly my job is to listen before I speak, because I don't know what my mentee is going to bring. Okay, so how do we establish the relationship that we want? So that from the very first moment, the mentee knows that it's about him or her, that he or she does not have to accommodate to me. Actually, what I'm doing, and I think it's more effective, how do I go in the other direction as a mentor so that the relationship is mutual? So what this is about, it's about a practice, a few minutes of practice, just to make some points. It's about a few minutes of practice, and I know that this is not legible, but in establishing the conditions for a mutual co-equal relationship. Now I realize there's a certain difference in experience between a mentor and a mentee. That doesn't mean that it's unequal. It just means that one person has had more experience than the other in a particular realm. So how do we establish the conditions that enable us to impart that experience? Okay, so those are some of the questions to ask. This is what comes from this. By the way, let me, before I forget, you thought I was going to ask you to say what you don't like. Let's do that now. No, we still don't have time. Look, just give me some feedback. When I asked you, and I know that, this is an exercise, but when I ask you, talk about your good qualities, what was that like? Tell me what that was like.
Like a job interview.
Like a job interview. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. What else? Was it hard? Was it easy? Hard, generally hard. Okay, let me talk about this a little bit. If I would have asked you, look, I want you to take 20 minutes and run yourself down. I want you to put yourself down for 10 minutes. I don't know what you're thinking at the moment, you might want to say, but generally it feels easier to people to talk about their negative qualities and their positive ones. In fact, when I asked you, well, talk about your good qualities, what do you like about yourself? I would bet, very often the very first thought that people have is not the positive ones, but the negative ones. Well, I can tell you, or you might say a positive one, well, I'm really good at this, sort of. This is the point, okay? Because this exercise, it's not about bragging. It's about self-knowledge. It's about taking a moment to say, this is who I am, and yes, I have these good qualities, and I'm really good at this. Well, see, we're not saying I'm better than you. We're not saying I can't keep growing. It's what self-knowledge is. When we know ourselves, we can say who we are. The good and the bad. Yes, I really have, this is my strength. I really need work here. The tendency, and this is important particularly in working with generally around diversity issues, the common tendency is to put the balance on the downside. Okay, so what tends to happen over time is we lose the strengths of coming together. We lose the strength of our commonalities. So it's very important for us as leaders, for us in mentor roles, to be basically self-confident in who we are. This is who I am. Basically, this you were saying to our mentee, this is what I offer you. This is who I am. And it needs to be to convey the intellectual part of what engineering and science is about. What were the challenges to create a safe, very human, very trusting relationship in which that intellectual content can be conveyed. Because when it's conveyed in that kind of a relationship, the power becomes multiplied. The learner basically learns more. And you achieve more of a balance. So again, going to what some of you have said, it's about building community. And it's about making the first step is to build community, to build relationship. We can communicate a lot non-verbally. It is hard not to talk. Many of us have been socialized to think that talking itself is dialogue. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes what we call dialogue is actually interruption. So we think we're communicating, but actually we're cutting people off. As soon as you ask a question, it could be a very innocent question, or why did you do that? You know, it's what the other person can feel is judged very quickly. The point is this, I'm going to step back for a second. The point is creating in a relationship a certain amount of safety and trust that allows that relationship to go the next step. So you just can imagine, let's say, you know, and again, I know that I'm oversimplifying, I'm aware of that, but a student, say particularly a minority student, a student of color, going to, say, a predominantly white institution, how does that feel, given the realities in our society? I'm going to be looking around for people that are going to come to me, for people that I can feel safe with. And I'll say more in a few minutes about this because this is really important, because as soon as the student, and you, I'm sure you know, you've all had this experience as well, as soon as we step on campus, there's already a question, what is my relationship to this place? Another question is, does this place really relate to me, or am I going to have to do all the relating? Will this institution come to me, or expect me only to come to it? In a few focused minutes, people we worked with for years, we can take that relationship a few more steps and make it a little bit deeper than it was 15 minutes ago. What that attests to is that when human beings focus on each other in a non-egocentric way, it's like, look, for 7 minutes, it's about you, not about me. I'm going to give you this time. I'm going to put aside my agendas. I'm going to put aside my discomfort, my issues, and I'm going to make this just about you for 7 minutes.